Here's to whiskey kisses, the peaty taste of sin.
Greetings, whiskey folk, and welcome back to Drinking Out Loud. My name is Adam Bradshaw, and I am here today for the official unbottling of Art and Decadence for the Whiskey Folk Whiskey Club here in Victoria, BC. Art and Decadence by Compass Box. Ooh. All right. I am very excited by this one. I love Compass Box. They have yet to do any wrong. Everything they've done has been fantastic that I've had. And the idea behind this particular blend is magic. I'm really... yeah. Which is funny, because they actually had one called the Magic Cask. But this is a blend based around the idea of decadence and using different sweet wine casks. It says right here, Marsala, Sauternes, and Madeira. That's not the whole story, but it's most of the story. There's a lot of information on the back. I'm going to read it out for you. What does decadence mean to you? We love the chain of associations that led to luxury, beauty, excess. It's highly fertile territory for art and whiskey. Oscar Wilde wrote that we live in an age where unnecessary things are our only necessities. The age in question was the late 19th century, when the aesthetic movement in the art world yearned for pure visual delight. The aesthetic movement gave rise to the decadent movement, with artists layering influences from around the world. For those with a decadent sensibility, more was always more. The unnecessary flourish became the most important thing of all. If something delighted you, that was the only justification required for its existence. Art and Decadence is decked out to delight. We've taken glossily sweet grain whiskies and combined them with unpeated malt whiskies, matured in American oak barrels, sherry-seasoned butts, and malt whiskey finished in not one, but 3 varieties of dessert wine cask. Like we said, more is more. With the decadent movement, art was made for the sake of art. There were no ulterior motives. Similarly, a whiskey like Art and Decadence may not be strictly a necessity, and that's the whole glorious point. Thank you, Compass Box. And if you think the box looks nice, check out the bottle, because this is gorgeous. If I can get it open. All right. Look at that. Oh, it's debossed and everything. It looks like it's been engraved onto the bottle. That is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. And of course, in classic Compass Box style, I made a bunch of notes, but I didn't need to because it's all actually on the back of the bottle. So one of the things that made me most excited to try this is weirdly the grain component. So this is not a blended malt, this is a blended Scotch whiskey, which means it does have grain whiskey in it. But it's one of my favourite distilleries. It's actually Port Dundas. And we had a Port Dundas quite recently in an extra special charity tasting. It was a well-aged sherry cask Port Dundas, and that's what we have here. I believe if I counted the rings properly on in their secret knowledge base, I think this is around a 22-year-old Port Dundas grain whiskey that this is built on. In fact, 19.7% of this is that Port Dundas refill sherry butt. But it's also 39.8% Balmenach. Between Sauternes, Marsala, and ex-Madeira casks. And actually, I'm glad I made the notes, because I have the actual breakdown. 11.2% Marsala, 13.6% Madeira, and 17% Sauternes. And then it gets even better, because one of my other favourite distilleries, Glenmoray, is in here. An Oloroso, but Glenmoray, 24.1%, and then a parcel of blended malts as well. James Saxon was the lead designer of this. Non-chill filtered, natural colour. Bottled in August 2023. And finally being unbottled here almost a year later in 2024. This is for our in-store samples here at Whiskey Folk. So you can swing by to the store and try this. We're going to do this for $4. $4 for a sample. And you can try this, what I assume to be incredible whiskey. We yet to find out, but I'm sure it's fantastic. And of course, if you are a Strath Premium member, the cost of this whiskey is included in your subscription. You can just rock up and tell us your name, and we'll pour you a dram. So swing by the store if you want to try it. Let's see what all the fuss is about, shall we? It almost feels like wrong to open this bottle because it's so beautiful. All right. Gonna do it, though. Gotta do it. Whiskey does no good just sat there in the bottle. It's gotta be open, it's gotta be shared. That's what we're all about. Oop, tried to take the lid off, just got the foil. Let's try again. Ooh, it's tight. Ooh, there we go. Nice. Funny. Really thick glass. Okay. It's a very, very luxurious looking whiskey as well. It's got that wonderfully sort of complex hue. It's not just yellow, it's not just red, it's a mix of them both. It's got lots of shimmer to it, lots of oiliness to it. Yeah. 49% is, good. I like 49%. I'm perfectly happy with that. Cask strength is not always necessary, but if we can get it at a higher ABV than 40, that makes me happy. 46 is kind of great. 49 is fantastic. I'm very happy with that bottling strength. Yeah, on the nose, it reminds me of those Glossette raisins, the chocolate-covered raisins. It's kind of a waxiness going on, which is often in Compass Box whiskies and usually comes from Clynelish, from my understanding. If there is any Clynelish in here, it's part of that, what do they call it? Blended Scotch parcel, which is only 2.4%, so it's unlikely that that's coming from Clynelish in this case. It's probably coming from those dessert wine casks. Sprig of red currants. Sprig the right word? It feels like a sprig, but it's more of a bunch, I guess. Especially in Europe, you get it as like a decoration on a salad, and it's still on the stems. It looks like a tiny little bunch of grapes, but it's not as red currants. It's tiny, so I want to call it a sprig, but yeah, bunch is probably the right word. Yeah. There's like a Madeira cake, like a treacle sponge pudding, kind of a sweet cakiness. What's that? That was familiar. Oh, that's what that is. So there's a restaurant just around the corner from the Strath called Nowhere. It's run by the same guys that run Hank's. I love Nowhere. It's my favourite restaurant in town. Their deal is apparently they do now have an a la carte, but their whole thing is you sit down, you pay them a bunch of money, and they just bring you whatever's good that day. So it's a lot of like fresh produce from local farms. It's almost all very like locally sourced stuff. I say almost all because the thing I'm about to say definitely wasn't locally sourced, but they're known for being quite playful and experimental with their food, and some of the food I've had there has just been absolutely incredible. The best quail I've ever had in my life there. That's the kind of place I'm talking. Last time I was there, which was actually on June 20th, the day I became a Canadian citizen, I celebrated by going to Nowhere. And one of the courses surprised the hell out of me because it was a ham and pineapple pizza on like a pizza base that was made with like locally milled grown rustic flowers and all of that. And then the pineapple though was, I don't know what they did. It's like caramelized pineapple somehow. I don't quite understand how they did it, but it was fresh. It was a real actual pineapple, but it tasted like pineapple Jolly Ranchers, and it was incredible. Getting a whiff of that here. Gourmet ham and pineapple pizza. Because I'm actually getting like the rustic graininess as well of the pizza dough. It's really weirdly reminding me of that pizza. I might well be one of the only people in the world to draw that parallel between this whiskey and a ham and pineapple pizza, because it's very specific to that ham and pineapple pizza. Okay, so the initial little quick dram there, it's got that wonderful funky earthiness that you get with some more sauternes, usually sweeter wines. It feels rustic, it feels decadent. It's interesting, yeah, it definitely feels of an era. It's not modern decadence. Like, we're not talking precision built here. We're talking, yeah, like old school Decadence, where everything was still very much hands-on, hands-made, but was ridiculously, well thought out and put together. This is, this is. It's a beautiful mess. I don't normally take such a big mouthful, but this is it's the kind of experience you want from this whiskey. You need to take it a lot of it in at once and hold it there for a second, and it just stays in your mouth. Taking a tiny sip wasn't going to do it justice, and I actually have quite a lot of recording to do today, so the future videos might be a little bit interesting, because I couldn't not drink that. Oh man, that's good. Yeah, it's like slightly fermented apricots. Like, they're dried, but they didn't quite dry enough before they were stored, so they're a little funky. And there's this creamy vanilla fudge thing going through it as well. That is gloriously complex and wonderfully over the top. That is truly delightful. And you know what? I want more people to try it. So it's not going to be $4 to try and store. It's going to be $3 to try and store. I don't know if that's actually going to make a difference. I may have just lost us a bunch of money. But either way, $3, you can come and try this in our store for the next couple of months. And you really should. That is wonderful. And we do have, I think, 4 bottles left. This is a limited edition run. They only did 9,496 of these. So, yeah, we only got 6. We got the 6 at the end. I don't know where the other 9,490 went, but we got 6, and now we've got 4. You can get this in store right now. Regular price is $227.74. So with the 10% discount, being that this is a featured whiskey, all Whiskey Folk members can now get this for $204.97. I love my job. All right. Look forward to seeing you at some of the upcoming tastings that we've got, hopefully soon. I can't believe how good that whiskey is. All right, I'll see you next time. Sláinte mhath.